I am Wilma J. Webb, and I have served the people through being elected Colorado State Representative. I am Wilma J. Webb, and I have served the people through being elected Colorado State Representative in Denver, Colorado. I served in the House of Representatives for 13 years. I have also been appointed by President Bill Clinton as the Regional Administrator for the United States Department of Labor. And I served also as the First Lady, the first active lady of Denver under the administration of my husband, Mayor Wellington E. Webb. And he and I worked together on everything we did, on his election, on my election, on what we were interested in. And that's not to say that we didn't disagree sometimes, because sometimes we did have little disagreements, but they were always something we could work out. But he is my inspiration, and my children have always been with us, even when they were small children, and we included family, extended family, and we have a huge one. And so families can work together and make things work. The main ingredient, as one of my constituents said, is all you need is love.
Was this always your path?
There's a question that's always difficult, and that is what inspired you to be in the various roles that I have played and have been a part of. I really think that initially I was prepared by my family, by my mother and my dad, my grandmother, all of the people that were in our neighborhood, to become who I have become. I had a dream when I was younger that I wanted to be an author, a writer, and I was very good at it. I was very good at speaking according to people as well. And so that developed into a life where I participated in essay contests. I ran for school office. I was a leader in my church. What really initially got me involved with politics were a number of things. I first started out as a young woman, and I had two directions to go into. One was to go to college, which was my dream, to go to college, and another was I married young, and so I had to change my direction in terms of where I was going to go so that I could make a living. And it wasn't a time when very many African American women were hired to be executive secretaries or secretaries, and I had all of the qualifications. I remember that I interviewed for a job, and they must have sent in 10 or 15 different people to interview me for a stenographer job. But then after that, as time went by, I went to college, which was my dream. I went to the University of Colorado, Denver, and I did that during the hours after work. And so, of course, that was a slow journey, but still I was doing it. And in terms of getting involved into politics, I was working for a large corporation. It was during the time of so much of the civil rights strife that was going on in the 1960s. I went to work for Mobil Oil in 1963. And it was a time when television was developing throughout the country. It was color television. Before it was black and white television, but it was color television. And I was fortunate enough to be working in an office building downtown. And all of the brand new color televisions were located in various department stores. And so I happened to be on my break, on lunch break, And I went in because I saw all of these people going down the street crying, and people were gathered up before television sets and watching. And that was when President Kennedy had been shot. And by the time that my lunch hour was over, he had passed away. And so that was the first time that I encountered really being touched and felt by politics. The chaos that went on when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, yes. And that was on April the 4th, 1968. And you can imagine at that time that there were only a few black people. I think there were 3 of us out of some maybe 150 people who worked for Mobile at that time. And so a person who was over services went around saying, we're going to dismiss work early to let people go home because there's probably going to be a riot. And then the announcement about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had been shot. I came home by bus, and the next morning I had to get up and go to work. But all evening long, the night long, I was watching what had gone on in Memphis, and I had watched Bobby Kennedy giving that speech about the assassination about Dr. King. Mm-hmm. So that all came together and really was bothersome to me. A woman whom I had known most of my life, named Rachel B. Noel, was the first African American to be elected to the Denver Public School Board. And she was serving on the public school board, and she had decided that she was going to carry a resolution to desegregate the public schools. Mm. And there were a series of school board meetings, and a bunch of young parents, which included myself, were going to all of these meetings, and I was the spokesperson, or one of the spokespersons for that group, telling why we wanted the schools to be desegregated, because the children weren't getting an equal opportunity in their educational experience. And so those are the ways that I got involved into a life of service to people. I also was very involved in voter registration. Mm. We had a shopping center that was very active at the time that was called the Dahlia Shopping Center. Mm-hmm. And it was up on 32nd and Dahlia. And then there was another shopping center on Holly Street. And so I was joining a lot of the neighborhood organizations, and I was registering people to vote. And eventually, as it turned out, I became involved in formal politics. And that's another long story, and I don't know how much time we have to tell. But I need to write a book.
You should
and
write a book.
And some people are saying that I
book.
should tell everybody about the experiences, because I lived this life.
Yes.
And so many of us lived it.
Our history is
Our
important.
history is very important, and it needs to continue to be told.
Yes.
And it needs to be made when our country has grown up to the point where we can write true American history that is inclusive of everything that has happened to the United States of America.
Yes, yes. Our history is American history.
Yes.
And you have always been a servant to change. You have been involved in, through a very critical period, civil rights movement, change. How do you feel about what's happening in this country since November of last year?
It is so interesting to reflect back, and it is so interesting to have been a part of trying to correct wrongdoings as I have in my life. And it is interesting to know that some of the things that we did here really have influenced people, all races of people. And it's very interesting in terms of reflecting back that we're seeing a worse situation in many ways than what had occurred in, since 1619, all the way up through the 1920s and 30s with segregation laws, all the way up until Jim Crow days, and to the 1964 and 1965 Civil Rights Acts, which really provided for Black people and all people to be able to vote, and which also provided for desegregation of schools and also of accommodations throughout the country that could not discriminate anymore. But when I see what is happening here in 2025, today, it makes the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. even more important, because he was speaking righteous words, and he was speaking solutions that would help all people to be brothers and sisters to one another. And so we have to be those people, as we were called at one point in time, people of good will. 2 words of good will have to be involved. We can't be quiet. We have to have the ways that where the path is just as good as the end result. And so I'm concerned, very concerned for our nation, for the direction that we are going.
People want to know what to do. What can we do now?
What we must do is we must continue as if the struggle never ended. And what that means is we were always righteous in the way that we conducted ourselves, but it was strength in that righteousness. People throughout the world picked up the, I would say, the method of nonviolent resistance. If you look at Gandhi, if you look at India, if you look at Germany, if you look at countries all throughout the world, they all wanted to gravitate to the kinds of humanity that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about, and more than Dr. King as well. And I don't want to overemphasize him, but he's been one of, if not one of the humanitarians of the world. And we have to, whenever something is said that is untrue and that is not the truth, we have to correct it. What is really the truth, and it's so sad and so concerning, is that most of the people that are being treated poorly, treated inhumanely, are people of color. And the people that are being to places where they will probably have little chance of having a chance to have a life that is meaningful to themselves, to their wives, to their husbands, to their families, to their children, to society. We are all hurting from bad decisions that are being made during our lifetimes.
Yes.
So what we must do is we have to keep on doing the right things that we were doing. And that's a very broad statement. But what it means is that if we see the Department of Education being dismantled, we have to fight against that. We have to have education for all of our citizens. That was one reason why our nation was formed and why education was made available. When we see whole departments of governmental services that are serving people, we have to, at those moments, not sit still, not be quiet, but we have to take it up. And we have to do it in a way where our means is also the outcome. We can't do it in something that is hateful and hate-driven. We can't do it that way. So we have to correct where wrongdoings are going on.
Yes.
We have to take care of each and every one of each of us, of ourselves, one another. When we know that there are people that are suffering because they're being told when they go to their jobs, you no longer have a job. We have to help them in terms of education or re-educating themselves. We have to fight for those departments to be reinstated because they were serving not only having a job for somebody, but they were serving needs of people, needs of citizens, needs of the people of America. And so we just have to do what we have to do wherever there's a need, wherever there's a need.
There are so many ways, there's so many avenues.
Yes.
And we have to find where we stand.
Yes, we do. Yes.
And act.
Yes.
And you do. You continue to. You continue to shine.
Well,
that enormous light that you have.
Thank you.
To stand up, to speak out each and every time. It goes in cycles.
Yes, it does.
Jessica.
I can remember when I first became First Lady, and our country was having a problem of illegal drug abuse. And I carried legislation in the legislature 3 different times for treatment programs. Mm-hmm. And finally, during the year, my husband ran for mayor. He was elected in 1991. And of course, people wanted to know what I was going to do because I was elected as well. Well, I served for 2 more years. I came out of the legislature in 1993. But when I became First Lady, I was able to, as a legislator, get the drug treatment bill passed where people could get treatment because it was being treated at that time as just strictly crime and criminal acts, but not considering that it was an illness that people could get help and really get help with their treatment to have it as a part of their past. Yes. And I finally got that bill passed in the legislature. But after that, as First Lady, I wrote a stage production. I was very interested all of my life in the arts. I played the piano. My church was very involved with every aspect of life, and I was very involved. That's where I met Mrs. King, was at my church when she came to Denver as the guest speaker for our Women's Day programs. I was on the organ, playing the organ, and she was the guest speaker. And she and I became friends throughout the years, all the way up until the time she passed away. But what I'm trying to say is, as First Lady, I wrote this production and I entitled it Change. And so art has always been a part of making a difference in the world. It tells the story. Right. It makes you have opinion. It makes you see good from bad.
And it promotes empathy.
And
you are first in many spaces. What would you say gives you that strength, gives you that will to endure and to bring your enormous light wherever you go?
I can't say that it's one thing. There were a lot of people who helped me and who were with me and who wanted someone that could speak for them. And I felt like I owed it to them and I wouldn't be doing what they had placed me there to do if I didn't do those things.
When you enter those rooms, you know you're not alone.
Yes, right. And there were so many people, and I'm in a later stage of my life now, and so many have passed away, and I miss them. And there's still people, though, who have been influenced by a lot of those people who are no longer with us.
Right. And you carry
yes. And so
they continue on.
Right. And so and then I as a person have to feel like I won't worry when I'm gone, that the young people will know the truth or some of the truth and try to keep the world moving in a loving way and And that's a responsibility also to make sure that those who come after us, no matter what race they are,
that they continue
to carry on
that fire
and agape love.
Yes. That fire.
Yes, right.
That was instilled to you.
Well, as I said, when I look back and I see what's happening now,
Yes.
I used to believe, I truly used to believe that if people from all walks of life were educated, that racism and that hatred and bigotry and all of those kinds of things would evaporate and go away. I used to believe that. Now, with what is happening, I'm saying it's something that we always have to be concerned about, even if we think that it's going to go away. It won't go away if we are not the voices for goodness.
That's right.
And
every generation has to fight
has to, and it doesn't matter which race you are if you're fighting for the right things. But if you're fighting for hatred and for bigotry and for harming and for superiority,
there's always those.
Yes.
That is their goal.
Yes.
And we know things go in cycles.
Yes.
Bends towards justice and then it goes back around.
That's right.
We have to resist.
We do, and we have to do.
And you are a voice. You're a light.
Well,
of resistance.
I
and
thank
for change.
I thank the good Lord. I thank my parents. I thank my family. I thank my friends. But also, we come together. There are things in life that affect everybody.
Yes.
And you can't be just for yourselves. You have to be for everybody to be able to be what God intended them to be able to excel in whatever it is that they want to do in their lives, and everybody should always feel like they have worth and that they have value.
Yes.
And no one should be able to make them feel any less than that.
That's right.
No less than that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.